More than 400 years ago, an Indian people called the Aztecs carved this stone, called the calendar stone. For the story of the Aztecs, let's look first at present-day Mexico City. Actually, Aztec history can be found under the streets of the city. Here are excavations that have revealed the ruins of an Aztec city beneath the capital of Mexico. Here, the eye of a carved Aztec serpent gleams in the shadows. These ruins were once part of the great Aztec city, Tenochtitlan. Today, on 20 feet of rubble, is the great plaza laid out by the conquering Spaniards who destroyed Tenochtitlan and built Mexico City on its ruins. The Aztecs of Mexico, with their capital at Tenochtitlan, reached the height of their power about 1500. Within their Aztec domain were cities of other tribes they had conquered. From these earlier cities came contributions to Aztec culture. Teotihuacan was an important religious center of a pre-Aztec people who built this pyramid of the sun. We do not know much about the Teotihuacanos, as they're sometimes called, but to the people of Mexico today, the pyramid is a great landmark of early Mexican civilization. Over 200 feet high and 700 feet across the base, the pyramid recalls the grandeur of the great structures of ancient Egypt. From a high terrace on the pyramid, ruins of smaller buildings of Teotihuacan can be seen. The Mexican girls exploring the ancient city may be descendants of the Indian tribes that built the ancient cities of central Mexico. This part of Teotihuacan is called the Citadel. Perhaps the most sacred shrine of the city is the Temple of Quetzalcoatl. Dominated by carvings of the feathered serpent, this temple was dedicated to Quetzalcoatl, the god of learning. The people who created the civilization of Teotihuacan were succeeded by other tribes, including the Toltecs. By the well established. The impressive remains of the city of Tula are another important and continuing source of knowledge on pre-Aztec culture in the Valley of Mexico. Amid temple ruins are the gigantic statues of Toltec gods. It must have taken great skill and patience to carve these great statues of hard stone using only implements of stone. At the base of the temple are carvings of eagles and tigers in geometric designs. Other carvings represent the myth of creation in symbolic figures of snakes and skeletons. The Aztecs were later influenced by these religious ideas of the Toltecs. Later than the Toltec people were the Totonacs, who built this pyramid probably in the 11th century. Called the Temple of the Niches, it is one of the most complete buildings of pre-Aztec Mexico. And these temples were part of the American civilizations that were being developed by various Indian peoples in Mexico about the time of the Middle Ages in Europe. The Aztecs, who entered the Valley of Mexico from the north in the 12th century, developed one of the highest cultures in Mexico. At Tenayuca, near present-day Mexico City, is a well-preserved temple of Aztec origin. Typical of many Aztec temples are the steep steps. These focused attention of worshippers on the summit of the pyramid, where religious ceremonies, including human sacrifice, took place. This pyramid is also called the edifice of the serpents, because around its base is a line of carved serpents. Here, repeated many times, is the symbol of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, symbol of time and representative of power and mystery. In the mystery of Aztec religion, human sacrifice played a leading role, as these carvings of skulls on the temple symbolize. Many aspects of Aztec civilization were brought to their highest development in the city of Tenochtitlan, the ancient metropolis now under Mexico City. Amid the rubble of the Aztec city, a student holds a picture of Tenochtitlan as it looked when Cortez conquered it. Like the city of Venice, Tenochtitlan was built on a number of islands interlaced with lagoons and canals. Causeways connected the major sections of the city, a bustling metropolis. In the marketplace, men and women bartered for food, perhaps fish from the lagoons, or corn, the basis of Aztec agriculture and economy. Corn was grown in the fertile soil of the Valley of Mexico. Farming was primitive, from the planting of the seed to the grinding of the cornmeal on a stone metate. Out of the cornmeal, the Aztec housewife made thin, flat pancakes. These tortillas, as they are called today, were the principal food of the Aztec people. Often the business of everyday life was broken by colorful ceremonials, usually having to do with the numerous Aztec gods. The Aztec goddess of the moon was portrayed as a woman with a full, round face. Some gods were shown as animals, as this frog goddess. There were gods of the wind, the sun, the earth, and other natural phenomena. This 10-foot figure is believed to be a water goddess. The Aztec concept of the universe was carved on the great 20-ton disc called the calendar stone. Let's go back to about 1500, when the calendar stone was new and probably looked like this, a masterpiece of Aztec religious art. What was Aztec religion like when this calendar was made? Let's imagine that the year is 1500. We'll reenact a religious ceremony as it might have been performed by an Aztec priest and his attendants. The priest, in ceremonial dress, ascends the steep stairs of the temple pyramid. Atop the pyramid, Aztec musicians are playing on traditional instruments, drums, bone flute, and gourds. Elaborate headdresses of feathers and ornate costumes lend color and richness to the ceremony. As the musicians chant, the chief priest, with a symbolic sacrificial flame, makes offerings to the four corners of the Aztec universe. Aztec religion was highly ritualized. In charge of the worship and ritual of each god or goddess were the priests. The role of the priest was to interpret the will of the gods. It is to find favor with a particular god or goddess that this young woman is being offered as a human sacrifice. Now the tempo increases with the beat of the beautifully carved wooden drum. With the sound of ankle bells, the sacrificial dance begins. For the Aztecs, human sacrifice was common. It was an important part of their religion. On some occasions, the victims, often captives of war, were numbered by the thousands. The sacrifice was based on the usual primitive idea of finding favor with the gods by giving up something very valuable. The Aztecs believed they could ensure their well-being and existence by offering to their gods the most precious gift of all, human life. We must remember that a complex religion was only one element in the Aztec civilization. That civilization was one of the most successful Indian cultures of America. The Aztecs achieved a highly developed social structure and government. They made advances in science, in architecture, and the other fine arts. The story of the Aztecs is a high point in the history of Indian civilization, in the Valley of Mexico.